we're going to quit. If someone hits Control C, which is, or Control Z, we'll get the program interrupt and we'll stop. If there's some other problem, right, we're going to, you know, complain and keep going. And if we have 5 failures in a row, we're going to quit, but it will just keep on going because these things do have glitchy bits here. And so at this point, if we've made it this far, we've retrieved the URL and we've got the number of characters we've retrieved. And if we get bad data, if it doesn't start with from, because this is a mail message, right? And they all start with from space. If it's right, it starts with from space. Then what we're going to tolerate up to 5 failures there for bad data, because it could be bad. And then we're going to find a blank line, because that's the new line at the end of one line and then a blank line. And then we're going to take and break this into the headers, the mail headers, which is, that mail headers is this stuff right here, up to but not including the blank line, and then the body is everything after that. Okay, and so we'll just break that into pieces. Otherwise, we'll complain and tolerate up to 5 characters. And then we're going to use a regular expression, kind of from the regular expressions chapter, to pull out an email address from the from colon line somewhere in these headers, from colon right there. It's going to go find a less than and then pull, oops, come on, pull this stuff out up to it. So you got the less than, you got the parenthesis, you got 1 or more non-blank characters followed by an @ followed by 1 or more non-blank characters, and we'll get back a list of those. We should only get 1. If we find 1, we're going to grab the email, we're going to strip the lowercase, and if we got some little nasty less than sign in there, we'll tolerate that as well. So this is kind of cleanup, and you get used to this where you're like, oh, how come all those email addresses have this other stuff in them? And then we also look for it if there are no less than signs, and we do this way. This is, and that's different. Some mail messages have it this way, and others, again, you write this code after you watch it for a while. You're like, oh, it's crapped out and giving me bad stuff. And I make them all lowercase so they match better and get rid of bad characters. Well, now I got an email address. Then what I do is I look for the date of this. So I'm going to graph these by date. So I look for this line and use a regular expression to pull that out, right? So I'm looking for a date followed by a blank, followed by any number of characters, followed by a comma. So I'm not interested in this Wednesday bit, so I'm skipping that bit right there and going and grabbing everything after that comma space. And so it's really here to the end of the line. So that's the new line. And so it's going all the way. It's going to pull this bit right here. That's the text. And this is where we're going to like say, oh, that's kind of a funky looking date, and we want to standardize that date. So we're going to, let's see. Yeah, we're gonna chop it off at the 26th character. Apparently, I don't know what the 26th, why we care about the 26th character, but we chop that off at the 26th character. And then we're gonna parse it, and that's gonna give us back a nice clean date, sent at date. Otherwise, we're gonna complete, we're gonna quit. And if we can't parse it, then we're gonna tolerate 5 bad email addresses in a row. Then we're looking for the subject line using another regular expression. Subject line. Regular expression, that's pretty easy, up to but not including, right? There's a blank there, it's the subject. And we pull that out, we get the subject. Now at this point we parsed it and we got good stuff, so we reset the fail counter because I kept saying if you fail 5 straight times you quit. And we're going to print it out, and then we're just going to insert that stuff. We've got the ID of the message, which we've got the email address that it came from, the time it was sent, the subject, and then basically the headers and the body, and we're just inserting it. And now we're going to say every 50th we're going to commit it, so that speeds things up, and every 100th we're going to wait a second. So that's, you know, count is going up, 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 and every 50th you'll see it pause, and then it will, every 100th it'll pause for a second. Mostly that's to let me hit Control C or to not overload any server. Okay, so that's the simple one. The problem is this data just gets ugly, and so you'll find yourself wanting to reset this and start it over. This one's going to work, of course, but these are hard to build, and that's why it's a good idea. Oops. Python 3 gmain.py. How many messages? Well, let's just do one. Okay, so it went and grabbed, oh, do I have this already running? 51 through 52. Let me start over. +-l star SQLite. Okay, RM content. I must have run it to test it. So let's run it again, Python gmain.py, and ask for one message. Okay, so there we went and got message 1 from 1 to 2. We got 226 characters. And we printed out the email address, the time we got it after all that hacking, and the subject line. And that's what we got. So if we take a look at the database and we go into the Gmain, every time you see the content SQLite journal, that means it needed to run a commit. And it hasn't run a commit, but I'll hit enter and that will do the commit. And you see that vanish. So now I can open it and I take a look at. How come there's no messages? Did that one not get stored in there for some reason? Just refresh. Huh, well, let's run it again. Maybe it didn't commit. Maybe I got a bug in it. Let's make a change to the code. I'm going to see this connection.commit. See that? Connection.commit. I'm going to commit there. And the other thing I'm going to do is every time I stop to read, I'm going to commit right before I read it. So I think we should, I hope that doesn't blow up. We'll see. So the idea is that if I want to stop, I want it committed. So let's do this. Let's do one message. And now I should hit, is it committed? Now that I put the commits in, I think that it will look better. And I can't refresh. And so there it is because I committed it. And I don't have the journal file, so that's good. So that's a good idea to put those commits there. So I'll just leave those commits in. When you download it, it'll have those commits in there. So again, I put a commit here and a commit at the very, very end to make sure. And then I missed that. But now we get one, right? And so let's just run it again, and you'll see how by selecting the max of the ID, it's going to select the max of this and then add 1 to it, so it doesn't do the next one. So if I run it again, I say give me one message, so it goes 2 to 3, and give me 2 messages, right? So I hit enter, and I can do refresh, and now you see we've got 4 messages. Okay, and so let's just fire this baby up, tell it to get 100. Run. Right? It just goes and goes, and it pauses once in a while to do a commit. And if I made a commit every time, it just paused there. Now it finished. So this will run, and we will get a bunch of data. The problem is if I just run this, it'll take about 5 hours, okay, to run this and get this all. And I've got a really fast connection, so I have got a file that you can download. Let's go find it. Let's see if I can, let's see how long it'll take me to download this. I've got a file that you can download and save. Now I'm going to use the command line curl, or wget is another command that we Linux and Mac people can use. I don't know, you might have to use your browser to do it. Let's see how long this is going to take. It's retrieving. Minute 30. Okay, well I'll just wait when this comes back. Okay, so now that's done. I was averaging 10 megabits a second. I downloaded about 600 megabytes, 10 megabits a second. That will probably be slower for you.